So this second particular time was in the evening. I was going up into the town to get some tucker, and I went past this, just setting up again, breathalyzer, and of course the camera was on, so I drove past, drove through, no incident, but by the time I got up into the town, the police patrol car had turned around and got the message, this vehicle is unregistered, and they proceeded to chase me up into the main street, which was the main drag of the town, and with the lights flashing and so on. So I pulled up very close to where I was going anyway, pulled over and parked. And this was near a hamburger shop, which is well known in the town, and everybody knows my van too. So there was a big lights flashing, and lots of people hanging out the front door in the window. You say, "Well, what's going on?" And a bit of entertainment for everyone. Anyway, the two policemen come to the side driver's window, and which I pulled down. No big deal. I knew what I was going to do. So all I do is expose the fraud. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else, not exposing it, not complaining about anything or anything. That's just straight bang bang into it. And that's all I do. So the situation went like this. First of all, I see you've got an unregistered vehicle. I said, uh-huh. And he said the plates don't match. I said, of course, because I know what I've done. I'm not going to admit I haven't. So he was a bit taken back. He said, oh, okay. Yes, he said, you can't drive with an unregistered vehicle. You can't drive on the roads. And I said, well, I'm not driving. I'm actually travelling, and it is illegal to use the legal name. If you want the legal name, you're not going to get it. So then, of course, one of the other coppers there was a younger guy, and he'd seen me once before. He'd been through this 3 years ago with me in the station itself. So he knew me as who they thought I was. Right. So that was fine. So from there, and it went like this. Oh, so have you got a name for me? And I said, no. And the copper said, the one that recognised me, that knew me, he said, I said, you can call me Pete. That's as far as I'm going, Pete. And he said, he said, what about you got another name? And I said, no. I said, I'm not going to commit fraud in front of you. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, it's illegal to use a legal name. And I said, it's illegal. He asked me the licence too early, sorry. And I said, no, I haven't got a licence, and I'm not registered, you know that. And I said, by the way, it's actually illegal to hold a licence and to also have registration. And he goes, what?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I said, yeah, simply because it's Crown copyright property and it's not mine. The legal name is not mine. I have no way I can use it. And the other guy goes, oh, not this again, he goes. So he knew all about it. Anyway, he's busily writing down. He said, oh, we've got to find out who you are. So it just so happened, which I'll show everybody later again, I had the transcript from the last encounter at the station, which gave all the details of the legal name and all the charges and so on and so on. Anyway, so I said, look, I had this sitting on the seat. Now, how's that for an ironic situation? If I hadn't had that out, this probably wouldn't have happened. But anyway, this is all going back to the karma business. But anyway, so he, so I actually handed it to him. I said, here, this might help you work out what you want. So then he got it off. They got the name, the legal name off the paper, of course, and he read it. He said, "Oh," he said, "you've done this before?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Oh, you went to court. How'd you go?" And I said, "Really good." Give a bit of a chuckle and said, "Oh, yes." So that was fine. Anyway, he proceeded to go around to the driver's door and open the door, which I didn't protest. It was fine. He wanted to have a look around, so he looked around for any other ID he could find, which there was nothing there. I don't have ID in the van of any sort. There's no VIN numbers on the van either. They're all been removed years ago. So try to keep the identification down to a minimum. Anyway, he threw the paper back into the van, onto the seat, and he said, "So where's your postal address?" And I said, "I haven't got one." I said, I'm homeless. I'm living in the van." "Really?" So he had a look in the back of the van. There's a bed in there, of course, and everything else. And he said, "Oh, that looks exactly, yeah, that's what you said." Yeah, so he was happy with that. He said, "Oh, it looks as if you do live here." I said, "Well, I do." So I give them an address that I had for months and months previous, which I'm not at now. So they've got one address of me, a postal address or a residential address. And from there, they'd had enough. They come and took the plates, the illegal plates off the van, and I just went on about the Crown Corporation and how you're legally allowed to kill me, if you like, murder me, turn me into a dead corporation to be able to do business. And anyway, with that, he stuck his head in the door again and he said, "Have you got anything else to say?" And I just said to him, "Well, you should know the law." And he wasn't very happy with that, so he slammed the door, and they both walked off and left me there with no plates. So I proceeded to go and buy the food that I was after for my dinner. And after they left, I drove the van around into another street and parked it for a while, just so to get out of the way, and then eventually drove back to where I was going originally. So that was it. And sorry. Then knowing that everything is a contract and we have 72 hours to accept or not, because what they give me was 3 infringement notices, one for driving without a licence, one for an unregistered vehicle, and one for not having a licence. So what I did is I bundled them up into a A4 envelope, which I'll show you pictures of again, and just headed it fraudulent transaction, which is exactly what it is, and it was done in fraud. So I tell the truth, always tell the truth. I'm not saying this is the be-all and end-all of solutions, but it is the rules of contracting. That is your grace period. And I just put on attention the officers involved in pulling up a vehicle, blah blah blah, on such and such a date. Refer to infringement numbers, 3 numbers I put down, and then my stickers on the bottom, which I'll show you. Excuse me. And that was that one. So hope you've enjoyed that little encounter. I did. It was great fun. It's great when you know what you know, and You know, it's the main thing is you are getting out the information, putting out the exposing the fraud, and that's my whole aim, and that's all I do, and that's the best defence, if you want to call it a defence. It's really not a defence, and it's not anything. It's just the truth. It's all it is, and they can't handle it, of course, but they must know. And my aim is to inform every time I can. Inform. So they have the paperwork you'll see, which all explains everything to do with the legal name again, and how they are committing fraud and enticing me into slavery simply by asking me for that legal name, address and date of birth. I did give them, he did ask my date of birth, and knowing that the birth date is completely different from the born date. The born date is your registration of the DNA, which is your first certificate, which you don't normally get. It's very hard to get hold of that, which is your live birth. Live birth. So I give them my born date, estimated it to be 7 days previous to the actual date on the birth certificate. They also got a copy of my birth certificate, by the way, which has got the big red letters across it. Evidence of aiding and abetting fraud.
And this is really all you need to hand the copper, without any words spoken. It says it all. He can't do much more. He just wants that evidence, and there it is.
Just a recap, guys, on my methods, what I believe, what I see, what I feel, is, to me, all this is an illusion. I am the real thing. Everything outside of you is the illusion. So, in reality, if you want to call it reality, your reality is your reality alone. It's all about you. This whole life is about you. Everything that's happening on the earth now is about you. And it's your development, your perception, your awakening to what is real and what is not. Now this is where we say the matrix, if you like. The matrix is the illusion of what is supposed to be a reality. But I look at it this way, and this is the way I get around it. So everything outside of your body, if you haven't created it, it's not yours. It's nothing to do with you. So all this business with corporations and the crown and everything else to do with the life that you think you know, it's all been given to you from someone else's perspective, how they want you to be, how they want you to be controlled, it's their idea of how life is, which again is not true, of course. And this is the big lie. This is the greatest story that's never been told. And this is the way I look at it, and this is the way I feel empowered, again, because it's nothing to do with me. It's not my reality. It's someone else's. And as far as I'm concerned, anything to do with corporations is none of my business. And I don't intend to make it any of my business, because it's not. So keep that in mind, love, and keep your power back, people. Come on, just realise that this is all a big game, all an illusion, a game and an illusion of life that is not real. So you are the real thing. Stick with that. Get to know yourself. Get to love yourself. Get to love your reality, because that is all there is. Okay? So stick with it. Cheers.
That's all, folks.